Hi, I'm Andrew Shearer. I'm an arts and culture reporter for USA Today, and I do these videos on occasion when I get new stuff in my library. First thing you know about people that look like me that make videos like this is just because they've got a lot of movies behind them in their video doesn't mean they've actually watched all of them. You got a lot of um, videos out there who people are, I don't want to say hoarding. What do they say? They're hauling, and so it's just about like buying a lot of stuff. I don't have that kind of money. So I'm just going to show you on occasion when I do get some new stuff, what I got and why I got it. I do want to show you something really cool, and this is going to be like permanently back here. I don't want to drink out of it. Pam's Coffee. This came from, I visited my friends in Los Angeles very recently after not having been there for about 6 years, and stopped by this place called Pam's Coffee that is a coffee shop that is inspired by the movie Coffee starring Pam Grier, and so I think that is it's just it's beautiful. I'm a big fan of Jack Hill's and Pam Grier, and I met Jack Hill this year, which is a great honor. So let's talk about first the things that are new to my library. The rest of these, for the most part, are all things that I bought Blu-ray to replace the DVD that I had that was very old. The first new one I got was The Toxic Avenger, and this is it's one of my favorite movies of this year. This is a remake of an 80s movie by Troma, and had been made into a cartoon series and toys and things like that. And we thought we were going to get like a bigger budget Toxic Avenger movie, but they ended up just making like four sequels that were varying in quality, and certainly fun to watch. But this is the best, I think, version of Toxic Avenger that they've made. It's made by Macon Blair, someone who really understood the way that trauma is supposed to feel. So I know people that haven't watched this, either because they're opposed to remakes or they're just opposed to a remake of this, or they just don't like the way it looks. But let's not swing the gavel before we've heard the case. This is one of my favorite movies of the year. I saw it twice in theaters, and I couldn't wait to get this on Blu-ray. And also, there's this thing called Toxic Shock with Tiffany Shepis. It's a really great bonus feature, and I met Tiffany Shepis just purely by. I mean, I've met her at a convention before, but while I was in Los Angeles, I was out with my friends at some people's houses that were doing like haunted stuff in the yard and everything that people could just walk up and go to. And there she was. Her son was acting in one of the. It's like this little cemetery someone made in their yard, and he was like popping up behind stuff with some other kids to scare people. And there she was, and she was so nice, extremely nice. She's like, "Do you want a picture?" And she stood there for a bunch of, and I was like, I just, I'm a fan. I'm just happy to meet you. I don't, but she went anyway. Just that's what the kids call a real one. Also, believe it or not, I have never. This is this is this is new to my library. I did not have a copy of Chopping Mall when I was a kid. I would see this box like in the video store and stuff, and it had like body parts coming out of it and everything. And I was like, this is kind of inspired by House, this one, but the old box was and back then I didn't know who Jim Wynorski was. I didn't know who Paul Bartel and Mary Warnoff were. Um I may have known Barbara Crampton, but you know what I mean? They really hid what kind of movie this was. And it's not like a slasher in a mall. That's Eric's Revenge. This is it was originally called Killbots, and it's about security robots that go on a rampage, and like these kids are trapped in the mall with these deranged security robots that are out to just destroy everybody. So a little kind of Terminator-y, but also, um, you know, I guess one of those things where you got your '80s teens that are actually played by like 20-some-year-olds, and there's a reason for that. I found out later it's because it would have been very disturbing to watch age-appropriate teenagers dying in all these movies, and also the some other things. But yeah, this has become like one of my favorites. Like, why don't I have this? I have everything by Paul Bartel, and I love Wynorski's movies for the most part, and so yeah, I got Chopping Mall. This is part of the Vestron collector series. I do have a few of these in my collection in another room, but yeah. So I finally got Chopping Mall, I guess I just finally was like, oh gosh, I don't want it to like go crazy in price and then I can't get it because I really want it for my library. Okay, so um the first thing, and this is really important, I got a few Blu-ray DVD Blu-ray replacements of DVDs to show you. So the first one is a replacement of this movie Freaked by Alex Winter from the 90s at some point. It was going to be called Hideous Mutant Freaks, and I remember seeing at Tower Records the copy of Film Threat magazine that had Hideous Mutant Freaks on the cover, and it was like Alex Winter and Keanu, who are mostly known as Bill and Ted. But I had watched this show called The Idiot Box on MTV, and it was Alex Winter and Tom Stern, a really wild comedy. And so I was like, this is going to be great. And I believe it was made by uh, a big studio, maybe Fox or something like that. So anyway, took a long time for it to get out on DVD. This disc was 2005 or something like this, 2004. Anyway, so it was a nice package. I think it's important to show these things. It had this kind of see-through-ish thing with Elijah Scuggs on the front. And this is just such, if you love like practical makeup effects, this is like so good. It's just full of weird monsters and weird humor and things like that. And so it had, yeah, so you had the movie and then I guess all the bonus features as well. And so, and that was the kind of the wraparound, you know what I mean? So this was really special. I watched it a lot of times. And so I was really excited that it came out on well, this was kind of expensive. It's from Umbrella Entertainment, which is based in Australia, but it's 4K, which means it'll play on any 4K player. It doesn't matter where in the world you are. So it's okay to buy this. When it comes to the bonus features, however, I was a little worried because, like, okay, there's obviously going to be a ton of new bonus features on this. And so what's that going to be like? And there was a big deluxe edition, which was way out of my price range, but I don't usually go for 4K if that's the only way I can get it. And so you have the 4K copy, but you also have like a Blu-ray copy and a work print. And for some reason, these do work. Like they played in my 4K player. That was kind of a surprise to me because you think like, okay, well, it's Australia, so I have other Umbrella discs that won't play, and unless I use my region-free Blu-ray player. So that was actually cool to see that happened. So now we've got Freak Lives On, which made me really happy. Let's see, what else do we have here? We have Cecil or Cecil Be Demented, however you want to say it. This is a John Waters movie, and it is about renegade group of filmmakers who are sort of based on the Dreamland players, but not really. It's more kind of idealized, and they're criminals. And so this is a really funny movie. It's one of my favorite performances by Melanie Griffith. I think this came after Serial Mom, but don't hold me to that. Maybe after Pecker, I'm not sure. But this has always been a favorite of mine. I tend to watch the 70s John Waters movies, but this is one that I go to just because her dialogue is just great. And so Umbrella also, I picked this up at the same sale where I got the Freaked thing. This was like a half price thing, but it's the Blu-ray of Cecil B. Demented. And although it says y'all done? Although it says that it is region B, it plays in my 4K player. I don't know what's going on here. I was like, wait, does 4K just do all region naturally? Because it's not like hacked or anything. But no, I put my Blu-ray of The Blob from Umbrella, and it wouldn't do it. You had to do it in the region free player. So, but the 4K, just a regular Sony 4K player, will play the new Cecil B. Demented Blu-ray and Freaked. And this has it has the bonus features. There was a lot of bonus features on the the artisan DVD that came out. This has all those plus a lot more. And Vince Peranio, there's a great interview with him. You know, he's the art director for John Waters movies. And so, anyway, look at that. That was a replacement also. And am I still gonna keep these? Yeah, I'm gonna keep these. Why? Because um, these movies are, um, you know, just because it'll play on a current model of player doesn't mean it's gonna play on everything I've got going into the future. So I want to make sure I've got this just in case, unless I need money, and then I'll sell it. Okay, so everything I'm going to show you for this last part of the video is all from the Criterion Collection's most recent sale. Criterion Collection Blu-ray discs, I have a whole bunch of them here, but they cost a lot. They're like, for some reason, a Blu-ray is $40. And so, you know, or like 30 or something. I've never been able to afford sticker price on Criterion discs unless they're on sale and there's a sticker for it's like $20. And so they recently had a couple times a year they'll have a 50% off sale, either on their website, which then you end up having to pay shipping, so it's not as much of a discount, or they'll have them in Barnes and Noble stores, and that's where I like to go because the Barnes and Noble near me here in Athens still has a Criterion section. Not what it used to be, but it's still there. Probably because the dorks like me rush to the store to get things. You got to go quick because usually there's only one copy of the new stuff. So here are the ones that I got in no particular order. I replaced my DVD of Born in Flames, the Lizzie Borden movie. This movie, I think, like, I probably radicalized me a little bit. I was probably already a feminist before I watched this, but if you aren't yet and then you watch Born in Flames, you will be radicalized by this movie. It takes place in like an alternate future where there's just like two groups of women armies that are going around protecting the women in this one city. And so there's an incident where an important person is kidnapped and detained, and so the two women's groups, the one that's more the extremist and one that's a little bit more like nonviolent, they have to like learn to work together, and it's about women working together. It's about feminism. It's about empowerment. It will just like you'll forget because this is like 1980. So this is before like Riot Grrrl and stuff, and yet there's music in this that sounds like Riot Grrrl music. This is OG right here. So I got the and this had an interview with Lizzie Borden, the director, and a trailer gallery, and that's all it had. So that's all I've had for years for this. I don't know when this DVD came out, but it was a movie I heard about, and I finally got to see thanks to this disc. Now we have Criterion has done a Blu-ray, and it's great. I've already gone through all the bonus features and everything. Finally, we got a commentary with not only the director, but people from the cast, and a whole feature film. Aside from that, a movie called Regrouping that Lizzie Borden made in the 70s. And I also, Criterion released Working Girls, which was also a Lizzie Borden movie. Let's see if I can, if I'm not mistaken. Yeah, so this was years ago. But Born in Flames was, I like this movie. Weirdly enough, I first saw it because I heard that Cassandra Peterson, who's Elvira, was in it, and that's why I saw it when I was younger. But now we've got Born in Flames, and this is one of my favorite movies. It's such an important movie still, and it talks about intersectionality, intersectional feminism. If you don't know about it, get the video, right? Okay, so the next one I got, and this is one that I had in a keep case DVD. These aren't like, I think these were Warner Brothers maybe specifically, but it's got a little lock on it and it's all cardboard. And you got your chapter listing. So back then, stuff like trailers and scene access, which is just being able to do the chat. This is when Blu-ray was new, and so this doesn't really have a lot in the way of anything I would call a special feature. It's like standard Blu-ray stuff. But this movie is by Ken Russell, who made The Devils, and some other important movies. But Altered States is important for an entirely different reason. The special effects and the stuff they did with like in-camera opticals combined with makeup effects, they are, and I think Dick Smith, the legendary Dick Smith, did the like, well, I don't want to spoil it, but this movie is a total trip. Like, you have no idea from looking at this cover what the stuff that's in this movie. I think I feel about Altered States the way some people feel about 2001. But look at this, though. This is my first 4K Criterion disc. Why did I get 4K instead of the Blu-ray? For some reason, the Blu-ray was not on sale, but the 4K was. So I guess it's $20. I don't know if it was a mistake with the stickers or what, but the 4K is in here. So this has a ton of bonus features, and I've gone through almost all of them. The one I hit first was the interview with Bran Farron, who's a special effects designer, and he's old. So once these guys are gone, a lot of this knowledge, because everybody's using computer now, a lot of this knowledge is going to be lost. But I think it could be saved and applied based on the detailed instructions this guy gives on how they did the effects in here. So the cover's really cool, and yeah, so you get the 4K, and this is US, which that's where I am, and so no issues here with playback like I did with some of that other stuff I talked about. But yeah, so Altered States, that's a replacement. Now we're getting into the last two, and they're both Cronenberg movies. The first one is new, and the other one is a replacement. So let's look at the replacement first, because a lot of people know this is like maybe the Cronenberg movie that most people have seen other than The Fly, just because of how accessible it is. A History of Violence was in the early 2000s, and it marked like the first movie that of a couple that he did with Viggo Mortensen. He also did Eastern Promises with him. If anybody remembers the shower room fight scene. And also, I think Viggo might have been in Crimes of the Future, not the original Crimes of the Future, but the most recent iteration of Crimes of the Future. But anyway, this had a lot of stuff on it. It has Cronenberg's commentary. It has a behind-the-scenes documentary and a couple of featurettes, a deleted scene. There was a lot on here. That's because this movie got on a lot of best of the year lists, and now is like best of the decade lists for the 2000s. Got nominated for a couple of Oscars, I think, as well. And so I loved it for Maria Bello's performance, who I'd seen in Payback with Mel Gibson. And I can't really say, oh, and The Cooler, which my friend Jewel was in, but she didn't have like a long career. Like if I'm wrong about that, let me know. But I think I'd love to see Maria Bello in something new. But she was great in this. It's about a guy who's an ex-hitman, but his family doesn't know it. It's based on a graphic novel from the 90s, a DC graphic novel, if I remember correctly. And it doesn't feel like a Cronenberg necessarily. It doesn't have like the body horror and some of the weirder like elements that his stuff has. But it was one of a few that he did where it was just like, okay, I can do this too. I can do like movies that can get nominated for big awards and stuff like that. And so it is great. And when things are violent, because it is called A History of Violence, there is violence in this movie. That's where I see a little bit of Cronenberg's penchant for splatter. Okay, last one. Thanks for hanging in there with me. It's going to be worth it. Speaking of Cronenberg, this man is like in his 80s now. The Shrouds. So, unlike most movies that come out now, this is his newest one. Unlike most of the movies that come out now where the Blu-ray or the digital will hit in like a few weeks or maybe a couple of months, This took longer. This is like an old school release where you got to wait. I don't know what was the deal, but it makes its debut on Criterion Collection. This movie, if I can use this term, is the most sexual movie that Cronenberg has made since, I want to say, Crash in the 90s, which was NC-17. And it's like, those who know sex and car crashes. I remember having to show my ID twice to get in to see Crash. Once when I bought the ticket, and again right before we walked in the auditorium. Like, God, what could possibly we be seeing in this? But yeah, it was the 90s. This is a rated R, and there's, I don't think, anything worse. So I saw this in the theater, and then had to wait, and it's completely worth it. So not a lot of bonus features on here. We got something called Meet the Filmmakers, a Criterion original interview from the Criterion channel, and some liner notes, but that's pretty much it. But for those of you like me who collect Cronenberg's movies, gotta have Shrouds. He has not lost his edge. His son Brandon has made a couple of really good ones. Possessor, Infinity Pool, Antiviral, which but I like those other two. But anyway, yeah. So this is the new one. So let's do this. Since I hit 20 minutes here, but I always like to do like a little photo that can be used by YouTube for the icon or the wallpaper or whatever you call it, the thumbnail. There, Andrew, got it right. Let's see if we can make a thing for the end that I can use for that. All right. Stupid. I'm 48. I'll be 49 in January. The only thing you really need to know about me, other than I'm an arts and culture writer, which I could lose that job at any time, but I'll be a movie lover and hopefully a collector forever. May need to sell all these. Who knows? Anyway, thanks for watching.